Start with what you have. Start with what you have. Yes, I'm saying start with what you have. How many times did I mention that? All right. Welcome to another exciting episode of our self-awareness tips for success, proudly brought to you by Financial Freedom Community. My name is Amponsah and I am your host. Previously on our self-awareness tips for success, we looked at how to overcome our fears, since a lot of dreams have been shattered by the fear of what if I get it wrong? What if I fail? What if this is not the right time? What if this is not the right business? We were encouraged to face our fears so that we can rise above all circumstances. If you missed that version of our self-awareness tips, the good news is that that content is still available on our platforms, both on Facebook and YouTube. So consider checking it out so that you would be inspired to face your fears. Today on our self-awareness tips for success, we are discussing the need to start with what we have. And so I say start with what you have. A lot of people have been made to believe and also to think that you need to acquire a certain level of academic qualifications. You need to own a certain facility. You need to have some lumps of capital. You need to wait for a certain time before you can start. But then today, I want to tell you that start with what you have. Yes. Because you see, when you sit down to calculate the requirement, when you sit down to analyze all that they are saying, it looks scary. It makes things look impossible. And guess what? You end up letting it go. So it would interest you to know that what really stops most people is the starting. Yes, the start is what stops most people, not anything else. Because even as at now, you are thinking that this is not the right time. You're thinking that this is not, the right moment. So you are still waiting. You are still waiting. And you know, the longer you wait, the more likely you are to abandon that project. The more likely you are to let go of that goal. But then today, I want you to understand that things have changed. And if I must remind you, we are in the information age. We are in the era of full of possibilities, full of opportunities. So Robert Kiyosaki once said that in this information age, anyone can be wealthy because we all have access to the same information via the internet. And he is right. But then what I believe is that you need some level of, knowledge to decode and process the information that you receive. So Benjamin Franklin was right when he said that investment in knowledge pays the best interest. That is why if you're watching this video, if you have access to this information I'm sharing with you, it means that you have something. But then it is either you haven't realized it or you think it is not enough. But let me tell you today that things will never be enough. There will not be any point in your time where you will feel that I think everything is okay now, so I can start. I think this is the right time for me to get into that business. I think this is the right opportunity for me to enroll in that course. It doesn't happen just like that. So I say start with what you have. I don't know where you want to go in life, but I want you to understand and realize that you have something. So it is high time you come to your full realization and put into use what you have at your disposal. Because that is what you have. No matter how small, no matter how little it is enough to begin life with. Let me use an illustration of a bird trying to make a nest. to explain why you need to start with what you have. And I believe you would love it. You see, whenever a bird wants to make a nest, the ultimate goal is the nest. That is the goal. So the bird looks for a location where it wants to make the nest. And as soon as it identifies a suitable location, it imagines itself sleeping in that nest. And that is what inspires the bird to get to work. So most often in life, you need to imagine yourself living in that dream life. You need to imagine yourself that assuming everything works, assuming you don't give up, assuming you keep pushing, how would life be in the next couple of years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? And guess what? That would be enough to put smiles on your face. That would be enough to give you energy to rise above all circumstances. That would be enough inspiration for you to get started with what you have. Today, I want you to realize that you have something. So wait no longer, because the longer you wait, the more likely you are to never start on it. Because if you don't know, most of the time, later becomes never. So I say, start right with what you have. You see, as the moment the bird begins to start making the nest, it moves to and fro to get whatever material that it will find on the field, being either a feather, a rope, a stroke, a straw, whatever it finds, it brings it to where it is making the nest. And as soon as it arrives at the location, it makes sure that it puts that little material into use, because the bird understands time and season. The bird understands that no condition is permanent, and that if it doesn't put that material it has at its disposal into use, any strong wind can blow that material off and it will lose it. And you see, a lot of people have suffered these consequences because they were waiting for things to add up. They were waiting that, this will add up to this and it will be enough. They were waiting to accumulate a lot and they ended up losing everything. The bird does not do that. Whatever material it finds, it makes sure it puts it into use. So today, make sure that any little thing that you have in your hands, I don't know, it could be time. Make sure that you put that time into use. It could be money. No amount is too small to be spent anyhow. If you know what you have in your hands is too small to be called an investment, sow it. It is a seed. Sow it. You see, the bird will continually move up and down, to and fro, and make sure that it doesn't give up until the nest begins to take shape. If you have ever spotted a bird making a nest before, you would love this aspect of our conversation, because the bird does not look forward to gathering all the materials before it puts that material into use. The little material that the bird gets, it makes sure it puts it into use. So if you're watching me today, make sure that whatever it is that you have at your disposal, you put it into use right now before you lose it, because tomorrow is never promised. One interesting thing about the bird is that the bird has got a very beautiful skill. Just as every creature, we all have skills, because by virtue of your goal, by virtue of that kind of lifestyle you want to live in some couple of years to come, you need to learn some skills. You need to have certain skills. Maybe what you need is a skill, not money. Money is just a reward of our effort. Money is not the main active ingredient. That is why we have a lot of heroes who started from zero and then today they are heroes. That can be your situation, and that is what I want you to learn. Start. Maybe what you have is time. That time is enough to figure out what you can do with it. The difference between the rich and the poor is how they spend their time. So today, if you think you don't have money, I am reminding you that you have time. And so convert that time into something profitable. Maybe what you also have is a skill, and it is so beautiful because it is a good start. So convert your skill into something profitable. Use your skill to serve people, and by so doing, what you have been waiting for, which is the money, will definitely follow. Do not rely on your degree, because a degree is just a paper. Your education is seen in your behavior. We have a lot of graduates who do not have any skill and they are still not boarded. So it is very common to find, highly educated people who are struggling financially. And it is very easy to see some college dropouts, some people that we think they are illiterate, but then they are making, they are making good money. And if you are not careful, you might attribute it to some juju or spiritual money. My brother, that is not the case. The answers have changed, and that you need to make sure that you start putting whatever it is that you have at your disposal into use, regardless, irrespective of how small it is. I don't know why you think it is small, because nothing is too small to begin life with. If you don't start to work today, you will have to run tomorrow. So I say start with what you have. There is no time to wait, because if a farmer decides to hold the seed that he has because he thinks it is small, so he decides not to put it into the soil by sowing it, then that farmer should not expect any harvest. That farmer should not expect to reap anything during harvest time. And so I say, start with what you have. We have a lot of people who started from zero, and then today they are heroes. It is possible, and I want you to also be one of them. That is where we are driving to. So make sure that you start with what you have. If it is a skill, make sure that you put that skill into use. If it is a time, make sure that you put your time into a good use. There's nothing like spare time. We all have 24 hours. No addition, no subtraction. Whether you are broke, whether you are middle class, whether you are poor, or whether you are millionaire, we all have 24 hours. So the difference between the rich and the poor is how we spend our time. So make sure, if there is a skill that you have to learn, make sure that you learn it. Money is not the main active ingredient. Your passion, your determination, your consistent effort is what would make your dream materialize. So today, make sure that whatever it is that you have, you put it into use, because the longer you wait, the more likely you are to drop off that project, the more likely you are to get dropped out of the race. So I say, make sure you start with what you have. No amount is too small to sow into something profitable. Let us make good use of our time. Let us make good use of our access that we have to the internet. Let us make good use of our skills, and by so doing, it would inch us to a better tomorrow. So start with what you have. All right, you know what it is. This is Financial Freedom Community, and if you enjoyed this version of our self-awareness tips, make sure that you indicate it in the comment section, and also share with your colleagues so that they would also realize that they have something and that they would start with it right from today. Thank you so much for staying with me to this very end. I hope to see you share this video with your colleagues, and I can't wait to see you in the next self-awareness tips for success. Until then, start with what you have. Take care and and stay safe. Bye bye.